Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a simple truth. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a money behavior problem. It's not that people don't earn enough, it's not that opportunities don't exist. The real issue is that small, everyday habits slowly drain wealth before it ever has the chance to grow. Money doesn't disappear overnight, it disappears one bad habit at a time. Today, we're going to expose 10 bad money habits that quietly destroy your financial future, and more importantly, how recognizing them can completely change the direction of your life. What if I told you that most people lose thousands of dollars every year without even realizing it? Not because they earn too little, not because opportunities are missing, but because their money is moving in every direction without a plan. Money, by nature, does not stay still. If you don't control it, it quietly slips away into things that bring temporary comfort but no long-term value. And the scary part is that many people don't notice this until years later when they look back and wonder where all their hard-earned income actually went. Think about this for a moment. Every time money enters your life, whether it's a salary, a business payment, or even a small side income, it carries potential. That money could build security, create opportunities, or grow into something far greater. But if you don't give it direction, it will automatically find the easiest path out of your hands. A few online purchases here, food deliveries there, subscriptions you forgot about, and suddenly the money that could have strengthened your future has quietly disappeared into things you barely remember buying. Here's a powerful reality most people never think about. Money loves clarity. When you give your money a clear job, it behaves differently. Instead of drifting away, it starts serving a purpose. Instead of reacting to every impulse, you start making intentional choices. This simple shift from unconscious spending to conscious control is one of the biggest differences between people who struggle financially and those who steadily build wealth. Imagine waking up knowing exactly where your money is going every single month. Imagine opening your bank account and feeling confident because you already decided what every dollar is meant to do. Some money is meant for living, some is meant for saving, some is meant for investing. When money has a mission, it stops being chaotic and starts becoming a powerful tool in your life. But here's the hook that most people ignore. Control doesn't mean restriction. Many people think controlling their money means giving up everything they enjoy. In reality, the opposite happens. When you control your money, you gain the freedom to spend without guilt because you know it fits into your plan. Instead of wondering if you can afford something, you already know the answer. Another truth most people overlook is that every dollar carries a decision. Whether you realize it or not, you're constantly choosing between your present and your future. When money is unmanaged, those choices happen automatically and often emotionally. But when you control your money, those choices become strategic. You begin to think differently. You begin to see money not just as something to spend, but as something that can multiply, protect, and expand your possibilities. And once you develop that mindset, something fascinating begins to happen. You stop chasing money out of stress and you start directing money with intention. You become aware of how powerful each financial decision really is. The simple act of paying attention to where your money goes starts creating discipline, awareness, and momentum in ways most people never experience. What if the secret to building wealth wasn't about earning millions, winning the lottery, or discovering some hidden investment strategy, but simply about the small decisions you make every single day? Most people underestimate how powerful tiny habits can be. They believe financial success comes from one big breakthrough, one lucky opportunity, or one massive paycheck. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more powerful. Wealth is often the result of small choices repeated consistently over time. Think about how most people approach money. A few extra dollars spent here, a small unnecessary purchase there, it doesn't feel like a big deal. After all, it's just a small amount, right? But here's the hook most people never stop to calculate. Small habits don't stay small when they are repeated hundreds or thousands of times. That daily coffee, that extra online purchase, that habit of spending without thinking, it quietly compounds in the wrong direction. Now flip that idea. What if those same small habits worked for you instead of against you? Imagine saving just a little bit consistently. Imagine investing a small portion of your income every month. At first, the results may seem almost invisible. You might even question whether it makes a difference at all. But this is where most people give up, and this is exactly where disciplined people keep going. Success in personal finance is rarely explosive in the beginning. It's slow, it's steady, it often feels boring. But behind the scenes, something powerful is happening. Each smart decision strengthens the next one. Each good habit builds momentum. Over time, the gap between someone who makes intentional financial choices and someone who spends carelessly begins to grow wider and wider. Here's something fascinating about human behavior. People tend to focus on big dramatic actions while ignoring small daily behaviors. Yet those daily behaviors are the real drivers of long-term results. The person who saves a small percentage of their income every month may not feel wealthy today, but 10 years from now their financial situation will look completely different from someone who never developed that habit. Another powerful hook is this: habits remove the need for constant willpower. When saving, budgeting, or investing becomes part of your routine, you no longer struggle with every financial decision. It becomes automatic. Just like brushing your teeth or checking your phone in the morning, good financial habits begin to run in the background of your life. And once those habits take root, something remarkable happens. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on consistency. Motivation fades quickly, but habits stay with you. They quietly guide your behavior day after day, month after month, year after year. Over time, those small actions begin to shape your financial identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you begin to see yourself as someone who manages it wisely. What's even more interesting is that wealth rarely arrives suddenly. It grows quietly while most people are busy chasing quick wins. Those who focus on consistent habits slowly build a foundation that becomes stronger with time. The discipline to make smart financial choices daily begins to separate those who merely earn money from those who truly build lasting financial security. What if one of the biggest reasons people stay broke has nothing to do with income, education, or opportunity, but with a simple desire to impress others? Think about it. Every day people make financial decisions not because they truly want something, but because they want to be seen a certain way. A nicer car than they can afford, clothes with expensive logos, the latest phone upgrade even though the current one works perfectly. And here's the uncomfortable truth: many of these purchases are not about value, they're about validation. Now here's the hook most people never realize: the people you're trying to impress are often too busy trying to impress someone else. Everyone is stuck in the same invisible cycle, spending money to create an image that fades the moment someone new walks into the room. Yet the financial consequences of those decisions don't fade nearly as quickly. The payments stay, the debt stays, the pressure stays. Imagine two people earning the exact same income. One of them spends heavily on appearances, luxury brands, status items, expensive upgrades designed to signal success. The other focuses quietly on building financial strength, saving, investing, and avoiding unnecessary lifestyle inflation. On the outside, the first person might look wealthier. Their lifestyle appears more impressive, but behind the scenes, their financial position could be fragile, balanced on credit cards and monthly payments. Meanwhile, the second person might appear ordinary, nothing flashy, nothing designed to attract attention. But under the surface, their financial foundation grows stronger every month. Savings increase, investments compound, stress decreases. This is where the real difference between looking rich and being wealthy begins to reveal itself. Here's something fascinating about true wealth: it's usually invisible. The most financially secure people often don't feel the need to advertise their success through constant spending. They understand something powerful: money that stays invested and growing is far more valuable than money spent trying to prove something to strangers. Another powerful hook is the psychology behind status spending. Companies spend billions of dollars studying human behavior to trigger this exact habit. Advertisements rarely sell just a product, they sell a feeling: status, prestige, recognition. They subtly suggest that buying something expensive will change how others perceive you, and for a brief moment it might, but that moment passes quickly while the financial impact lasts much longer. There's also a deeper shift that happens when someone stops chasing appearances. Instead of asking, "How will this make me look?" they begin asking, "How will this affect my future?" That single question changes everything. Suddenly, purchases become more intentional, decisions become more strategic. The focus shifts from temporary image to long-term stability. And when that shift happens, an interesting realization often follows. True confidence rarely comes from what people see on the outside. It comes from knowing that your finances are under control, that your future is being protected, and that your choices are building something meaningful rather than just creating a temporary illusion of success. What makes this mindset so powerful is that it removes a silent pressure many people live with every day. The pressure to constantly upgrade, constantly compete, constantly keep up with what everyone else seems to be doing. Once that pressure disappears, financial decisions become clearer, calmer, and far more intentional. What if one simple decision made today could dramatically change your financial future 10 or 20 years from now? Not a risky gamble, not a complicated strategy, just the decision to start investing earlier than most people do. Yet this is exactly where millions of people hesitate. They wait, they delay. They tell themselves they'll start next year, after they earn more money, after life becomes more stable, after the perfect time arrives. Here's the hook most people never think about: the perfect time almost never arrives. Life always finds a reason to delay financial progress. There will always be bills, responsibilities, unexpected expenses, and distractions competing for your attention. And while people wait for the perfect moment, something extremely valuable is quietly slipping away: time. Time is one of the most powerful forces in building wealth, yet it's also the one resource nobody can recover once it's gone. When money is invested early, it gains the ability to grow not just once but repeatedly. Growth begins to stack on top of growth. Earnings begin to generate their own earnings. What started as a small investment slowly transforms into something far larger than the original amount. But here, another powerful hook: the magic doesn't happen immediately. In the beginning, the results often look small. Sometimes they look almost insignificant. A few dollars earned, a slow increase in value, progress that feels barely noticeable. This is exactly the stage where most people lose patience and stop. They assume investing isn't working fast enough, so they return to spending or postpone the process entirely. The people who truly benefit from investing understand something different. They understand that the early stage of investing is like planting seeds. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. Growth takes time, consistency, and patience, but once that tree begins to grow, it reaches a point where the progress becomes far more visible and far more powerful. Another fascinating aspect of starting early is how it changes your relationship with money. Instead of viewing money only as something to spend, you begin to see it as something that can multiply. Every dollar becomes a potential worker, quietly contributing to your future even while you sleep. This mindset shift alone can transform the way you make financial decisions. There's also a psychological advantage that comes with starting early. When investing becomes a regular habit, it removes the pressure of trying to catch up later in life. Many people who delay investing eventually face the stressful realization that they must save far more money in a much shorter time. Starting early spreads that effort across many years, making the process smoother and far less overwhelming. What's interesting is that people often believe investing requires huge amounts of money to begin. That belief stops countless individuals from taking the first step. In reality, the habit of investing matters far more than the size of the initial investment. Small contributions made consistently over long periods of time often outperform large investments made too late. As time passes, the compounding effect begins to accelerate in ways that feel almost surprising. The growth that once seemed slow gradually becomes more noticeable. The progress that once felt distant begins to feel real. What started as a modest decision made years earlier begins to reveal just how powerful time and consistency can truly be. What if one of the most powerful financial advantages available today isn't hidden inside a bank account, an investment strategy, or a secret business opportunity, but inside your mind? Most people spend decades working hard to earn money, yet they spend almost no time learning how money actually works. It's a strange reality when you think about it. People go through years of school learning many subjects, but very few are ever taught how to manage income, build wealth, or protect their financial future. Here's the first hook that often surprises people. The difference between someone who struggles with money and someone who builds wealth is often knowledge. Not luck, not talent, not even income. Two people can earn the exact same salary, yet end up in completely different financial situations simply because one understands how to manage and grow money while the other does not. Think about how powerful that idea really is. The more you understand money, the more control you gain over your financial life. Instead of reacting to every bill, every expense, and every financial surprise, you begin to anticipate them. You begin to plan for them. Knowledge turns money from something unpredictable into something manageable. Another powerful hook is that financial education pays returns that no traditional investment can guarantee. Imagine learning a strategy that helps you save thousands of dollars over time. Imagine understanding how to avoid costly mistakes, high-interest debt, or poor financial decisions that trap people for years. A single piece of knowledge applied correctly can save or generate more money than months of hard work. Yet most people never prioritize learning about money. They assume it's too complicated, too technical, or something only experts understand. But the truth is far simpler. Many of the most powerful financial principles are basic ideas that anyone can learn: budgeting, understanding interest, investing consistently, avoiding unnecessary debt, and thinking long-term about financial decisions. Here, another interesting insight. Financial knowledge doesn't just change your bank account, it changes how you think. Once you begin to understand how money works, you start seeing the world differently. You start noticing opportunities others overlook. You become more aware of how companies market products, how financial systems operate, and how everyday decisions affect long-term outcomes. For example, someone without financial knowledge might see a credit offer and focus only on the immediate benefit, being able to buy something today. But someone who understands money begins asking deeper questions. What is the interest rate? What will this actually cost over time? Is this purchase helping my future or hurting it? This shift in thinking becomes incredibly powerful because it turns everyday decisions into strategic choices. Instead of being guided by emotion or impulse, decisions become guided by understanding. Another hook worth considering is that financial education compounds just like money does. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to learn even more. One concept leads to another. One insight opens the door to new opportunities. Over time, this knowledge begins to shape your habits, your decisions, and your long-term financial direction. What makes this especially powerful is that financial education is accessible to almost anyone willing to pursue it. Books, courses, conversations, and real-life experiences can all contribute to building a stronger understanding of money. Each new insight strengthens your ability to manage risk, recognize opportunity, and make smarter financial choices in a world where money decisions are constantly influencing your future. What if the biggest difference between people who transform their financial lives and those who stay stuck is not intelligence, opportunity, or even income, but the simple decision to take action immediately? Many people know what they should do with their money. They know they should save more. They know they should invest. They know they should track their spending and avoid unnecessary debt. The knowledge is there, the awareness is there, but there's one thing missing: action. Here's the first powerful hook: knowledge without action changes absolutely nothing. You can read dozens of books about money, watch hundreds of financial videos, and learn every strategy available, but if you never apply what you know, your financial situation will remain exactly the same. Information alone does not create results, action does. And this is where one of the most common traps appears: waiting for the right moment. People tell themselves they'll start saving next month, they'll start investing when their income increases, they'll organize their finances once life becomes less stressful. But here's the reality: most people eventually realize the perfect time almost never shows up. Life is always busy. There are always new expenses, new responsibilities, and new distractions competing for your attention. Another hook that often surprises people is how small actions can completely change financial momentum. Many assume that meaningful progress requires huge changes, massive investments, dramatic lifestyle shifts, or big financial breakthroughs. But in reality, progress often begins with something much simpler: opening a savings account, setting aside a small percentage of income, tracking expenses for the first time, making one intentional financial decision that moves things slightly in the right direction. The moment someone takes that first step, something powerful happens. Action creates awareness. Awareness creates control, and control begins to replace the uncertainty that many people feel around money. Suddenly, finances don't feel like something mysterious or overwhelming, they start to feel manageable. There's also a psychological shift that comes with taking action. When people delay financial decisions, money often becomes a source of stress. Bills pile up, questions remain unanswered, uncertainty grows, but when someone begins actively managing their finances, that stress begins to fade. Instead of worrying about money constantly, they start guiding it with intention. Another fascinating hook is that action builds confidence faster than planning ever could. The first time someone creates a budget, it may feel unfamiliar. The first time someone invests money, it may feel uncomfortable, but each action builds experience. Each experience reduces fear. Over time, financial decisions that once felt intimidating begin to feel natural. Momentum also plays a major role here. When someone starts improving their financial habits, even in small ways, it often triggers other positive changes. Saving a little leads to learning about investing. Investing leads to learning about wealth-building strategies. One action opens the door to another. What makes this so powerful is that progress doesn't require perfection. Many people hesitate because they believe they need the perfect strategy or the perfect plan before they begin. But progress rarely works that way. The people who improve their financial lives the fastest are often the ones willing to start imperfectly, learn along the way, and adjust as they gain experience. And once action becomes a habit, the entire financial journey begins to feel different. Instead of constantly thinking about what should be done someday, every decision becomes part of a process that is already moving forward.